Welcome to the World of Horror podcast with Mom and Mac. I'm Mom.
And I'm Mac.
This is the podcast where we share our love of international horror, disclaimers for adult language, and spoilers. Hi, Mac. How's it going?
Hi, Mom. Happy 420. I have not taken part yet because it is not 4:20 p.m. So I wanted to say happy 420, but then I was like, I don't want you to think I'm high. I'm not. I would not do that.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, I was listening to a podcast I will not mention, but it's like pretty big, in the horror world. And one of the guys said to the other guy, "So how many glasses of wine deep are we at this point?" And the one guy said, "I'm about 3 in, but I'm going to start on my 4th." And I was like, just don't do that. Just don't do that and record, because their speech was slurry.
No, nobody wants to hear that. Well, okay, I'm sure there are some people who are like, no, I do. But I feel as though it seems like a great idea when you are currently drunk, maybe. But there's just no way you can. You know what's the worst is a few times, more than once, I streamed while high, and you know what's not fun is all of a sudden you just feel like, oh my God, there's a camera on me. Like if you just have that feeling, it's like I had many times where I was like, guys, I have to go. I have to end it early.
Oh my God. Yeah. No,
you feel weird.
It was never a problem for me. I could always take it or leave it. But I do remember the sensation of, I don't want to be high anymore.
Yeah.
And being high.
Yeah.
Still.
Like,
yeah.
I'd like this to stop. And your body's like, that's not what you signed up for, pal.
Yeah. Check back with you in about 4 hours.
Yeah. How about you go try to take a nap? And it's not fun when you yourself are not partaking. Like, if you're around people who are, it's just like, oh, guys, I'm just not going to be on this frequency. So,
mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of, I, as somebody, and I just don't drink just because I've never enjoyed it, but it is, I know we've already talked about this a million times, but I just am always flabbergasted at how much it is a part of working for so many cultures. And it just seems like the two things you'd least want to mix. I don't want to be without inhibitions around my boss, saying whatever I'm thinking,
Yeah, but also the culture of we're going to kill ourselves during the week so we can really let loose on the weekend or at 5 p.m. or whatever. I mean, that whole idea of I hate my life and I'm just going to struggle for the 8 hours I'm at work. And then, medicate before I go home. I don't know. It's all very odd.
Yeah. Now, I feel like when you get older and you start, really realizing okay, why am I going towards this thing? Oh, okay, the trauma. And then then it kind of, no offense to people who are currently in the throes of something like this, but then it does kind of get to be embarrassing for other people, I guess. Whenever, I don't know if you, I feel like drinking is sometimes seen as oh, well, they're a connoisseur. That guy loves, whiskey or loves this. And it's now I'm just thinking what are you hiding from, bud? What's going on?
Well, those people I don't understand. A true connoisseur, I don't understand at all.
Same.
Wine people or people who understand all the intricacies around that culture. I don't get that at all.
I don't think I've ever been rich enough.
I mean, I wasn't a super low bottom drunk. I wasn't drinking nail polish remover or something, but but other than that, I didn't care, as long as it got me there. I don't care what it tastes like.
Yeah. Yeah. I listened to a podcast episode about dudes who are really into, what's it called? Not whiskey.
Bourbon?
Yes. Yeah, dudes who are really into bourbon. Yeah, okay, yeah. That one was crazy. I feel as though if I don't know how any of those men are still married, because I do feel as though if I was a housewife and then my hubby is like, oh, whoops, I took out an extra credit card to buy all of my bourbon I'm not even going to drink. I'd be like, get the fuck out. Like, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't know. I've got no, like, you need to have like fuck you money to be engaging in that kind of behavior.
Yeah. I think you're right. I love that. I love that expression.
Me too.
It's pretty good.
And it's very applicable.
I'm trying to see what.
Fuck you.
Trying to see what Rosie wants. She keeps like putting her paws on me. It's super cute.
Aww.
Like she's just like putting her paws on me like that. But I don't know if she wants to get up here. Like earlier today, she was looking at me like she's looking at me right now. And I'm like, what is it, honey? And we went in the kitchen. She was all fine. I went and sat on the couch. She didn't want to sit on me, but she just sat on the ottoman in front of me and just like loafed out. And that's what she wanted.
Just wanted to sit with you.
How adorable is that?
She loves you so much.
I don't mind podcasting with her, but I can't. I have to do it in this room.
I need to show you. I saw something, Kurt the cat?
Kurt the cat? No.
The orange cat? I think you've seen him. He's got, his owner's this young man, but he'll just buy his cat
on Instagram. Yeah.
He showed off this, like, how the monitor, or not the monitor arm, well, it could be, but the mic arm, you can kind of like affix it to the desk. He showed off a bed like that to put on your desk so your cat can like sit with you while you're working.
Yeah, really I guess like, okay, so when I was going to get a kitten one time, somebody told me there are cat-oriented cats and people-oriented cats. So Kurt and Rosie, definitely people-oriented cats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my cats definitely would rather spend time with each other, but honestly, I don't mind it. I feel like it's the way you must feel when you see me and Sam getting along, where you're just like, I'm just full satisfaction. I'm just like, this was always the plan. I wanted you guys to love each other. So.
Yep, that's exactly right.
That's great. Like, in movies, or I don't even remember what thing I was listening to or reading, but it was like this parent was jealous that the siblings were close to each other. And I'm like, I do not understand that.
Wow.
I feel like that would be so, you'd feel like I did it. Like, yippee.
Yeah. That is the way I feel when you tell me that you're getting along with your brother.
Aw. That's sweet.
I'm going to have to edit this a lot because of this Rosie.
I don't even hear her.
Oh, good.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. I did some art, and then I was feeling like not inspired. Well, I have an idea for a project, and then I don't know. I had like another hour to myself, but I didn't have any inspiration. So I just cleaned up. I just cleaned everything off this one workspace to like give myself some more room and like make it cleaner and stuff like that. And so that felt real good, but I'm going to make another birdhouse, and still working on my zebra.
It looks so lovely.
Yeah.
WoHos, check out my mom's mosaic page. It looks very good. Did you post it there?
Yeah, it's called GSO Glassworks. And,
follow.
Yeah, follow. Yeah, it's usually posted in World of Horror too, because it's linked. But you can follow me, GSO Glassworks. Okay.
I didn't know the plot of stop motion, so I feel like also it's very similar to the perfection. Well, in the plot,
Yeah, do you want to get into the perfection?
Yeah, let's get into it. So, I watched the perfection, I feel like, when it came out. I, at the time, was working at my old job where I used to watch a lot of movies and do work. And yes, I watched a lot of things that were inappropriate, should not have been witnessed. Did not get fired, thankfully, but probably was a little bit dangerous to be watching that on the work laptop. But that's where I watched it first. And I gotta say, I did love it. Kind of in like a I just like seeing something that's new way. And honestly, contrasting these two together, watching it the second time, the luster went off a little bit, but it the power of contrast made me, I think, see it a lot better because it's so exciting of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the short plot summary from IMDb. When troubled musical prodigy Charlotte seeks out Elizabeth, the new star pupil of her former school, the encounter sends both musicians down a sinister path with shocking consequences. It was directed by Richard Shepard, written by Richard Shepard, Eric Carmillo, and Nicole Snyder, starring Allison Williams, Logan Browning, Steven Weber, and Elena Huffman, with cinematography by Vanya Cerniol, edited by David Dean, and music by Paul Haslinger. It was released September 20th, 2018 at Fantastic Fest, and then May 24th, 2019 in the US with a runtime of 90 minutes. I like this runtime because there's no time for breaks. And it is amazing that this is the same runtime as stop motion because you would never know.
And it's 90 minutes with credits, so it's 85
Really?
with it. Yeah, it's 85.
That's even better. I think much like wit, brevity is the soul of horror. Like,
nice.
Yeah. Like, unless you are going to show me something amazing, like if you're Mr. Park Chan-wook, like you can take as much time as you want, or if you're Bong Joon-ho, you can take as much time as you want. But, for a movie like this, 90 minutes is great. And I feel like they probably cut out a lot. Because it feels just so snappy, but I think you will never have a moment to feel bored. Sorry, one sec. I gotta pop a pill. It's the crazy thing about ADHD meds is when you forget to take them, and then you're like, oh, that is the reason why I have these.
Yeah, I know. So I got back into Mom and Mac chat. I got a booster for my ADHD meds because they wear off at a certain point, but I still have work to do. And so I got this booster, and OMG, you would have thought I was trying to smuggle in, a kilo of cocaine or something.
Would you mean like at the pharmacy?
Yeah, it was so difficult to get it.
Yeah.
And now it's finally in, and it's Sunday, and I can't go get it. So
that's so annoying.
I think I'll go tomorrow. But yeah, I used to live by a 24-hour pharmacy, and I got really spoiled. And so the idea that like this pharmacy closes is incredibly weird. But
they do treat you like you're a criminal actively while you're getting it. Like, I didn't know that it was a controlled substance at first, so I tried to, because I always just pick up refills early, or like as soon as I can put it in, I put it in. And at my old pharmacy, when I went to go do that, they were like, you cannot pick this up. What, like, they treated me like I was actively asking for like the nearest hit, and like shaking them and like throwing all the pills off on the ground. They made me feel like such a bad person. I was like, damn, this is so rude.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And you have to show your ID, and you have to sign this thing. And it's like, I just want to be able to do my work, guy.
Hey, America, isn't that what you want? Isn't that the whole point? WoHos
in other area codes, is that the way it is where you live?
Do they treat you like a junkie when you're getting your prescribed prescription?
And then there's a shortage sometimes, and so you have to call around to all these other pharmacies to just like get it in.
And if you hate talking on the phone, go fuck yourself, because it's the worst. I hate being like, hi, because every pharmacist is having a bad day. Always. And so they're always like, what do you want? No, we don't have your drugs. Well, speaking of drugs, so right at the beginning of The Perfection, we meet Ms. Charlotte, played by Allison Williams, and her mom dies. We get this great zoomed in shot of her mom looking like, hey, if you've ever seen a dead person, like an old dead person, yeah, they nailed it. And I do feel like that is how it feels, is like you're on zoomed in a fisheye lens. So we get like through some background storytelling that Charlotte has been caring for her mom for 10 years. She was a like prodigy cello player at this the name of the school is so fucking stupid. Back Off School.
Yeah, back off, man.
Like that's too much. And also later, I didn't even realize this. Alan noted, very interesting that this film came from Miramax. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if they would have been making this like 2 decades ago or something. So Charlotte basically had to leave her life as a prodigy to go care for her mother. And we see that there's like a jump cut of her and her younger self, and she's sitting also in front of her mom and just screaming. So, you know, this must have been a very fraught decade of feeling like, oh, I'm missing my potential. Because one thing I do know about any sort of instrument playing like that, like classical instruments, I mean, all of it does feel like grooming. Like telling also children that like, if you don't use and hone your skills now, you might as well like never do it, because as an adult, you'll never be able to do these things. Such a weird way to operate. So that must have been really upsetting for her. And then we get, you know, Charlotte kind of feels like concert cello is the only thing that she really has in her life. So then we see one mission, and we hear Charlotte rehearsing herself leaving a message, and then leaving that message for Anton and Paloma, who are the husband and wife of at the back off school she was at.
Back off, man.
Back off, man. We hear their answering machine, and she tells them, hey, my mom died. So I don't know where you are, but you know, you're probably scouting for new talent somewhere, but I can join you. So then we see her, and as she's leaving, when we see little Charlotte leave the school, we then see a young girl walking up. So we see what we can presume is that same girl now as an adult. That's Elizabeth Wells, her picture on a billboard as Charlotte's walking in Shanghai. So this woman, Elizabeth Wells, has kind of taken what was supposed to be her life. And so now she's at this event. She hugs Anton and Paloma, and we can see that there's some recent wounds on her wrist. Like, and also there's this one jump cut of like somebody getting electroshock therapy that they use 3 times in the movie. They love this shot. So she's been going through it, and this is a kind of awkward, you know, scene, but I do love this scene. I feel like the beginning of this movie is really where it's most like engaging. You're like, what the hell is going to happen here? And there's a lot of tension building up. So we meet Anton, that is Steven Weber, and he's giving this, you know, speech to all these people. They're going to have this competition for these young cellists that are going to get a 4-year live-in scholarship at his school, Back Off. And Elizabeth Wells and Charlotte will be the judges of this competition. And they make a big to-do of like, Elizabeth Wells is his prodigy, and then there's Charlotte, kind of the one who got away. But we're so happy that she's back. And the way that Allison Williams plays this, I do feel like this is maybe one of my favorite roles I've ever seen her in, because she's a very like high-strung looking woman, you know? Like you can kind of see, I feel in like 20 or 30 years, she'll make a great almond mom, like playing that kind of role of very stern. Like she just looks like she should have a high bun and be like uptight. So she looks like there's a lot of emotion going on. And so then Charlotte and Lizzie meet, and it's really sweet. They gush over each other's talent. Lizzie says that, you know, you don't have to be nervous in front of me. Like when I first heard you play, I was 9 and you were 14, and it made my heart skip a beat. It's very sweet. And so then as the 3 little girls are competing, In this cello competition, Lizzie and Charlotte are sitting next to each other, getting very close. And Lizzie just points out that one of the male parents has something going on with another competitor's wife. And she asks Charlotte to watch as she's like, well, they can't even help themselves. And so this woman then goes over to stand with the man she's having an affair with. And then she's like grabbing, his hand and then his groin through his pants. And then Lizzie whispers to Charlotte that, this gets her aroused, spying on them. So there's sparks flying between these two. And Lizzie, that's where Lizzie mentions that they have actually met when Charlotte was leaving. That was Lizzie's first day. And Charlotte asks if she would ever consider leaving back off. She's like, no, never. Like, no question. But I am on a little vacation. And then we see a man vomiting and collapsing. And somebody mentions something about, the non-border. And so we learn that there's some fever going around. And this is where Alan asked, because he was watching next to me, he's like, oh, is this a Contagion film? And I said, no. Nope. This movie will change many times, but I feel like it does that. It's fun. I would say this movie is very fun. So then
I just want to say I had fun too. Mm-hmm. I just feel that the reveal at the end is in extremely poor taste. That's all I want to say.
That's so fair.
And we can talk about it when we get there. But yeah, I was having fun too. I mean, it is campy.
Yeah.
The acting is on another level. The script is horrible.
Yeah.
Like the dialogue is amazingly bad. And there's just all these like exposition dumps like right here in the beginning. It's just like all this information that's coming at you. And that's okay. I mean, I think from this point on, things like really, pick up. But I mean, I would say the first 10 minutes is nothing but exposition.
Yes, it is. And you're just kind of trying to piece together what's happening. And it seems like the story's pretty clear. Like, okay, here's somebody who's this woman must be jealous of this other woman who's had such success in her career. And even the name of the film, well, okay, like I do associate being a perfectionist with like something like cello playing or classical music. This world is really kind of foreign to me, but I do feel as though that's, you like I said, I've whenever I was a kid and I looked up like, I wonder, what would it be like because I played clarinet for 1 year. And then everything you see online is just like, if you are not 6 and you are amazing at this, don't even try. Like, it's so crazy. Which I should say, even if you will not be the number one best thing at something, if you want to do it, you should still do it. Like, only one person will be the number one best. So, Anton says, Lizzie, will you play a piece? And she says, only if Charlotte will play. And Charlotte's like, oh, no, I couldn't. But then Lizzie says, you are and will always be the person who makes my heart skip a beat when you play. So now Charlotte has to. And so then interstitched while they're playing the cello very intensely, we see them dancing and then having sex. Later, Charlotte says that was her first time ever. And we do see a little, they make a note to show us a tattoo that Lizzie has on her back, which is a music note. And Lizzie then invites Charlotte to join her on her trip tomorrow, saying that she'll be staying in small towns and far-flung places, disconnected from, the world, and she'll get to sleep in and all this stuff. All right. 2, Detour. And I'll say, I think 2 is also... I think 2 maybe is my favorite part because I thought this scene was so crazy. It kind of is giving Bridesmaids, when they eat that. When she goes, you're really doing it. You're really shitting in the street. That's all I could think of when I saw this. And I'm happy they went there, honestly. So the next morning, Lizzie's hungover. Charlotte offers her some ibuprofen and hair of the dog. But we can see that Lizzie is not doing well. And what I do like, I feel like this scene is written well because, you know, I feel like a lot of people have this experience maybe where you might have a really nice night with someone and think, wow, it's almost like, it feels like we're so close already. And then when you actually go and do something stressful with them, that could be the real deciding factor of like whether or not you should actually be friends. And this has got to be like the worst thing that could ever happen the night after, you know, first having sex with somebody. So Lizzie's not doing well. They board this bus. And first off, okay, this is where the cracks begin to show because I'm like, where the fuck are you going? Like,
Yeah.
where the fuck are you going and why? I get it. Oh, I want to have, you know, why would Anton ever let her go this far? Is my question.
Yeah.
Like,
Also, do they know where they're going? It just seems like they get on a random bus.
yeah. And like I want to know how much time elapses between when she starts to really get sick on the bus because now they're in the mountains. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how far away they are, but Lizzie's getting sick. She asks for more ibuprofen. Then she says, I need a bathroom. And I do think this actress, I don't know, I enjoyed her performance here. It was, I've never really seen this in a movie before, but it is such a like, I need help. Please take care of me. Like I'm having the worst moment. What's happening? And I don't know. This scene was so captivating to me somehow. And I really enjoyed seeing, and like Charlotte was a caretaker for her mom. So, you know, she does a really good job this whole time. So anyway, Lizzie says she needs a bathroom. She's got to get off the bus. She's going to shit her pants. They find a passenger that can speak a little bit of English. And Lizzie then pukes in the middle of the aisle. So Charlotte gets the bus driver to pull over. And I do love Charlotte kind of begins by being like, hey, anybody? And finally she's like, stop the fucking bus. Like, I love this scene because that's a true friend. So they get the driver to pull over. Lizzie is shitting and puking. Luckily, we don't see that really. But there's a great scene where, because she's wearing this really cute outfit and Lizzie's just standing there and her panties are just like down. Like she's standing, but her underwear is down and she's like, Charlotte, I'm not okay. It's really sweet, kind of. And Charlotte like wipes her and stuff. It's really sweet. And she's like, don't worry. Like this is totally fine. So they get back on the bus, but then, you know, Lizzie's still feeling sick and Charlotte's like, oh no, you know, we're not near a hospital and there's no cell service. Lizzie, she does say about 80 times, it feels like my brain is on fire. I'm like, you couldn't have written anything else for this woman? Like, I wonder if her reading the script, she was like, oh, okay, the 8th time I say this. Okay.
Or maybe this was all improv.
It could be. Yeah.
You know,
because she's really going crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of the same, you know, lines were said over and over again in this section.
Some of this could have been just like cut out. Yeah. And so then Lizzie pukes again. And then Charlotte goes, are those bugs? Are those fucking bugs? And what I love about this is I do feel like you in this moment don't know if this is bad acting because Allison Williams might be a bad actor, but then you come to find out this was intentional. So I think this is done well because if you're watching a horror movie, you're used to shit like this and you're like, oh, okay, it does feel like bad acting, but it all starts to make sense. So,
and I just want to say this is giving Lost Boys. Do you remember that part? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Lizzie sees some maggots in the puke. It looks super fake, I gotta say. The CGI on this movie is so bad. Lizzie's freaking out, of course, and then she starts smashing her head into the window. And so the driver's like, okay, yeah, guys, you gotta get the fuck off. And then they start walking, but Lizzie starts feeling like there's something inside of her, and she hallucinates that there's bugs under her skin. And we see from Lizzie's point of view, we do see some like bulging, nasty stuff. She pukes again. There's spiders in it. And so then Charlotte's like, well, you know what you need to do, and just holds up this meat cleaver. And that's when you go, okay, what the fuck? But you kind of know what's about to happen because as she's like, I gotta get it off. And now you're thinking, oh no, she's just ruined this woman's life. So then we have a little which that is so cheesy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think you can do that, but don't have it go on for so fucking long. Just you can play the sound effect for like a half second and that's it. But no, that so we go back. Charlotte didn't give Lizzie ibuprofen. She gave her mom's drugs, and they show us 80 times nausea, hallucinations, gets worse with alcohol. What drugs are these?
Yeah,
First off, they're magic. And apparently you can take 80 of them and not die, because that's not the case with many drugs that do this. Like, she was popping them things.
Yeah, I was a little concerned about that. Like, and I know this is not the kind of movie that you want to like dissect and like try to make it make sense. But I mean, this plan is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, so many things have to go right in order for this to work out. And it's just like, she could have died.
Oh, for sure. Like,
yeah.
We see her, she didn't have a cleaver with her. She stole it from a food vendor.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we find out that the bugs and stuff was just because she, like, you know, she was like, oh, you have a bug on you at one point. And she says, are those fucking bugs? But again, like you said, we have to hope that Lizzie will actually hallucinate them. We even see, this part actually made me laugh out loud. I don't remember this, but we see her Googling at one point, like, how to do a tourniquet. You don't know already? She's like, Googling on the bus, how do I do a tourniquet? I'm like, girl, it's happening. Not that long. But yeah, like you said, these are the kind of things where in real life, when people try to hatch these plans, they always fail. And then you see them, you know, in like the interrogation, you know, it is like stuff from the movies. So what else was I going to say? Yeah, I'm very surprised she didn't die, honestly. But yeah, so we come to find out this was all part of Charlotte's plan. And she very much wanted, the whole idea was to get Lizzie to chop her own hand off. So then 3 weeks later in Boston, we see the winner of the cello competition, Zhang Li, has reached the academy and is settling in. And she is just like an adorable young girl. And it's really sad. Like, we see the mom like waving goodbye in a taxi. So, you know, really this little girl, we get the idea that when these kids are sent here, this is their life now. You know, you're not around your family. And they, you know, Paloma and Anton are like, we really become their family and treat them like we would our own children, which is gross when you go find out the later stuff. So then we have 3, home. So then as Zheng Li is getting this tour, she gets taken down to this chapel where it's an acoustically perfect room, which I don't feel like anybody in that could have like explained how, like, they just tell us that and we have to be like, okay. And only the very best are invited to perform there. And then later, Lizzie shows up at the chapel with her amputated limb wrapped up. So we get her side of the story. She explains she was found by the side of the road. The police tried to help her, but the thing is, she did voluntarily take the drugs and chopped her hand off. Now, okay, I am not an expert on law. I still feel like this is pretty fucking illegal, clearly. Like,
yes.
She's acting like we've got no case to make. And it's like, that's simply not true. Like, I think you could make a case.
Yeah.
This woman drugged me against my will.
She drugged me.
Yeah, like, it's not you took them. If you knew they were going to make you hallucinate, you wouldn't have taken them. She said, right, here's your ibuprofen. So, but she's letting us know this so that we, the audience, just turn our brains off. Yeah, but she's like, you know, I did take the drugs and I am the one who chopped my hand off. And, you know, by the time we tried to figure everything out, Charlotte had already left. And so Anton is like, I just don't know.
Okay, hold up. I'm sorry. I know this is not the film to dissect, you know, and to try to make it make sense. Okay, but Lizzie chops her hand off. Charlotte treats her, like puts a tourniquet on her, and then leaves her there.
How? Like, how did she go?
And then how did Charlotte get back to Minnesota.
Yeah.
I mean, how did Charlotte even get to the next town? But
yeah, like how are they not? And if this woman is on a billboard, it's not just Anton that's got interests in her
yeah,
being able to perform. Like she's in magazines. Like this is not just a rando. Like she's an ultra like this is like if Yo-Yo Ma got his hand chopped off by a rando, basically.
She was going to go on vacation for 2 weeks, but this is 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
So
when Anton sees her, you'd think this whole time they'd be like, "Where is Lizzie?" But he's like, "Oh, it's like he's like, oh my God, I totally forgot about you. Where have you been?" Yeah. Which is crazy. Also, does Lizzie not have a family? Because, you know, the whole reason Charlotte has left is because, so if it's so important if your parents die, like, where's Lizzie's family? I don't know. Like,
very good point.
A lot of the stuff is not making
friends
sense.
Or anybody who cares about her.
And, okay, and I have another thing to say. Alan helped me realize this. Why the fuck are fucking Jeffrey and that other guy even in the movie? Like, you could just Black Mirror erase them, like, just have like a void where they were. And I realized why, and I'll point it out when it is, but they are literally only there for one plot point. And I'm like, you all could have saved a lot of money just not hiring these men because it adds nothing to the story.
Also, one of them is named Theus, and I had to look it up, and it's like short for Matthias.
Oh, brother. It's also, it takes you so out of the moment every time he says Theus and Joffrey. Like, I'm laughing at Theus and Joffrey. What are they doing here?
I don't know. I guess you can have a cult with 3 people, but I mean 4 if you count Paloma, but I mean,
that would have been so much better if it was just Anton and Paloma. That's sinister enough. That's scary. Then you get Theus and Joffrey and you're like, okay, what's the circus? It is a circus now. And this is, so now we get to see how, you know, much Anton sucks. Well, Anton says, I cannot understand why Charlotte would do this. And Lizzie goes, it's because she's a jealous fucking bitch. And yeah, here is the beginning of the vocabulary that will just kind of take you out of it. And it's a shame because I do feel like this Lizzie actress, or wait, what?
Logan Browning.
I think she's good, except they just keep giving her the most insane things to say. This poor woman, she had to shit herself on camera, chop her own hand off, you know. She should get an Oscar, I think, for having to put up with this. So the next day, the students, including Zhang Li, are now practicing. Lizzie wakes up and, you know, it's late, which we already know that's kind of weird. And so Anton's like, oh, you know, practice is actually wrapping up. How about you come talk to me? And they just kick her out. And, you know, they're like, Paloma even says, this is a music conservatory, not a convalescent home. Crazy, but we're all seeing it coming. Lizzie is so distraught and she's like, please. And he's like, nah, get the fuck out. So then Lizzie sees Charlotte's picture on the wall, or a baby Charlotte, and smashes it because she's so fucking PO'd. And yeah, this also doesn't make sense. Like, it makes sense in the story that they are telling us. But as she says, she's like, I can teach. I can do all this. This woman's on billboards. Nobody's putting Theus and Joffrey on billboards. And he literally says, I have Theus and Joffrey. I don't need you. What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck is Theus and Theus? What are they doing besides being nasty? Like, that's all they do. She's on billboards. She's clearly making money some other way.
She's famous. Yeah.
Which, okay, this brings me to another thing. So then we see Charlotte's home, which is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's so
right.
It would make so much more sense if she'd been living in a hovel this whole time. This is a woman who's apparently tried to kill herself, you know, been in and out of mental institutions, just lost her mom, and she's in, like, why is she even doing any of this? Well, I know why, but it's crazy. And she's just dicing up tomatoes. why would she not be thinking like, when is Lizzie gonna come into my house? She's just making a sandwich. Like, this is crazy. That part also
I know.
She feels like a different character.
And even when she explains, the plan, which we'll get to, how would Lizzie know that?
Yeah.
Like, it has to be that they meet again somehow.
Yeah.
So that she can explain why she did all of this. This
also,
is what's so frustrating to me.
How did she have the money to go to China? How does she have the money to have this house? She's not doing anything. All she's been doing is taking care of her mom. I guess the mom is rich, but we just have to accept that? Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Lizzie pulls up with a taser and tasers the fuck out of her, beats her up, and then takes her back to Boston to the academy in the trunk of her car, which that's a crazy long distance. And so Anton and Paloma are coming home from something, and then they see Lizzie with the car, and they're like, what's going on? And she's like, well, I came back because I actually have something that you want. He's like, what could you have? She's like, I have the bitch in the trunk of my fucking car. It's like the writers just got the chance to swear for the first time. Like, their parents were like, it's cool. And they're like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm going to say fuck. So then Charlotte wakes up all beaten up and bedraggled, and Anton is sitting with her, and he's like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And he's like, I didn't realize you were so jealous. She goes, I was not jealous of her. I was trying to help her. So now, flashback to young Charlotte practicing in the chapel. She makes a mistake. They talk about the perfection. When you fail, at doing this, you cannot get close to God. And I will say, this is really heavy-handed, and I don't want to make any claims about the writers. Maybe they have gone through something, but both this movie and in the next movie we will discuss, it feels as though they view women's abuse as a story to tell, if that makes sense, and not like a real thing that happens. Like this, because there are times when you watch something and you can feel the real pain and you can understand, like, okay, somebody's got some experience with this and this is coming through in this. But in this movie, it just does feel like a horror plot. Like, wouldn't it be crazy and weird if this happened? And it's like, it's not schlocky, Don't treat it as such.
That's my issue. I think it could have been told in a different way. I don't know why it had to be child rape. I mean, for Christ's sake. And it's just treated like a detail, and it's disgusting, and it just ruined the film for me. Like, I just couldn't enjoy it, And when I think about it, that's what I think about, and that's a shame because this could be a fun, campy romp, and instead it's just like this, like, ridiculously in poor taste, story. Now, one thing I did like about this section is, as he's like berating her and telling her she has to pay the price and everything, she sees this door with like a little bit of sunlight creeping in from the door, and she dissociates and she imagines herself running away from the academy, and then that'll circle back at the end, and she'll have that we'll see her actually escaping from this prison in her mind or whatever. But I mean, that they must have heard about dissociation.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we can put this in here.
We'll put that in.
I also feel like
that was
somebody watched The Handmaiden and they were like, I like that. I think I'm going to do that. And they decided to do it poorly.
Yes.
If you want to see lesbians, finding each other, triumphing over the evil of man, just watch The Handmaiden and cut out the middleman. Yes. And the only thing I do like from this scene is, I think the one part where he's really berating her, and she's like, I will do it, like I'll be better. I feel like this just it kind of was a moment for me as a, somebody fresh into adulthood. I had many times as a kid where, a teacher or, you got a bad grade in something and you feel like this is the end of the world. And then you realize it was like a choice to make you feel that way. Like you never had to feel that way. But in those moments, you do feel like my world is crumbling and I'm a failure. I suck. And it is crazy how much you will internalize that way into adulthood. And it makes less sense, as you get older and you're like, now, why would you tell a little child that? Like, that's crazy. Like, I think about some teachers that I had that, were really, I think, on the whole good, but sometimes just did way too much in terms of like, you got such a bad grade. And it's like, that's even a stupid way to measure success anyway. But yeah, I feel like that was kind of shown well because Steven Weber, I mentioned this to Alan. I feel so bad saying this because I'm sure he's a nice guy, of course, but he plays this role like too well where but there is a nice scene where later he says like Zhang Li says something and he smiles at her, but it looks like a genuine, like they're trying to make a kid feel comfortable on set. So that was sweet. I'm sure he's a really sweet guy, but man, he is scary in this movie, I think. So we see when he's talking about paying the price, then we see a fully naked and out of focus Steven Weber. Fucking Theus and Joffrey are left and right of this guy too. Why are they there? Get them out of there. The idea of Paloma being aiding and abetting this is so much more disturbing than fucking Theus and Joffrey. Get them out of here.
And they're not scary at all. Like,
no,
the casting is very strange. Like,
it's
why
so
don't you
weird.
have like brutes? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. I guess because apparently Theus and Jeffrey and Anton were all taught with this method.
Which is also fucking crazy. Like he's like, my dad taught me this. It's like, whoa, why did we have to bring this into it? Why did you have to put that in my head? Fucked up.
So that's why I guess the casting, it's sort of weird. It's like, in that sense, the casting makes sense. But if you were going for like a sex abusive cult vibe, then I think other men should have been cast in these roles. Or like you said, just like don't have them and just have this really fucked up couple. But I think
makes more sense too. Because you include more people. And it's like, what if Theus one day is like, you know what? This is too rich for my blood.
Well, that's the problem with cults. I mean, if somebody leaves, that's why you don't want people to leave the cult.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like Steven Weber does a great job, I think, with what he's given here. And Theus and Joffrey, every time their names are uttered, like we kept laughing. Like Alan and I just kept going, not Joffrey. And he said, you can't be afraid of a man named Jeffrey or Joffrey. I agree. Anton, all right, that could be a bad guy, but not Joffrey. So in the present, now we see Anton fully throwing Charlotte down the stairs. Now, what is going on with the kids upstairs? Because he mentions earlier that the day students don't get to see this. It's only the best of the best. So they don't care that they hear a woman screaming, getting thrown down the stairs. They're like, oh, that's like Thursday. We don't care. What the fuck? Doesn't make any sense. They did not think it through. So he pulls her down the stairs, knocks her up, which is the dumbest shot. We see Steven Weber throw back his fist and then the screen goes red. It's not good. Now we're falling out of it. They've completely lost me here. So when she wakes up, she's fully made up in a ball gown and is chained to the chair. Here's one of the posters, is the back of her heeled shoe and the chain. So fucking stupid. So he forces Charlotte to perform. And, at first she's kind of like, well, it's kind of like, what could this do? But then he brings out sweet Zhang Li and he's like, well, beforehand he says like, oh, it won't be you. I'll be doing it to her. So now we, as in the audience, have to imagine a real child, by the way,
Yeah.
uh, like no doubt about it, a real child just sweetly watching her, which I yes, is very horrific. And, Allison Williams is like very much like, no, like not, do it to me, not her. But it's just, as you said, in poor taste. Now, what I do like is Charlotte begins playing, this the song, and at first she's doing well, and they kind of zoom in on Steve Weber's face, but then she makes like a very slight mistake and the screen just like shakes and his face just falls, and it's so I do like that scene. That one was good. And so then when she ends it, he sends Zhang Li off to bed. He's like, Paloma, put her to bed. It's past her bedtime. He's like, I was never going to do that shit. I'm not some fucking pervert. And she goes, fuck you. And I agree. So then Anton's like, all right, Theus and Joffrey, let me know when she stops biting, and then leaves. Okay. And then she's like, oh, no, screaming. And then Lizzie is like, wait, hold on, guys, because she's there. Which, again, we have to accept that they would be like, thanks, Lizzie, for bringing us Charlotte. You will now be one of the assaulters with us. That makes no sense.
Yeah. Also, as we'll find out, she's part of this plan. And there's a shot where Allison Williams like fully like headbutts her, and so I mean, I guess to make it convincing, but it's
too much.
It is too much.
And here's another part that's too much. She's like spread her legs and she threatens to like fuck her with her like severed arm, like, with her hand stump. I don't mean to be crude, but yeah, that is what it is. And that's insane, but you already know that you could, since it's getting so hammy, she has to be in on it, which she is. So suddenly Theus and Joffrey, they collapse. That the poison hit right at the perfect moment when Anton and Paloma have left. And so then they kiss, which I said out loud, I was like, why would anyone want to kiss somebody in this moment?
No.
You would never want to kiss somebody. I was
like, put her down. She's like, her arms are stretched out like to their full length. Like, get her down from there.
Like, I've had so many times where like memories come back only when I'm in a similar situation. Like I actually woke up at 4 a.m. today, and then I went for a walk at 5 a.m. And as I was walking, it really reminded me of like going to a bus stop in the morning. And I was like, oh, that's nice. I haven't thought about that when I was a kid. So it's like putting her in that situation, like she's now in the literal position that her like childhood trauma has occurred, and she's fine. It's fine. She doesn't have any, moments. So Lizzie and Charlotte kiss. They conspired. They poisoned the drinks. They flash back to the tasering. And so Charlotte, we see that Charlotte had explained to Lizzie as she's off her brain on these meds and pain, where she's like, I have to save you, and when you go to them and or she's like, Anton's going to discard you, but when you need somebody the most, I'll be there. Again, Lizzie apparently has no family. They could not hire, they had to pay Theus and Jeffrey's salary, so they could not hire, any family for her. So then, of course, we know that that's true, and Lizzie came back, and so then what took Charlotte years of like electroshock therapy to get over, Lizzie's now gotten over in like a month.
Yeah.
Not less than that. So that's great for her. And so then they plotted the revenge. Okay. 4, duet. So they have mystical magical drugs, which they used on Paloma somehow. And because she has a moment where she like totters into the room, falls down, knife in her back. Oh, and she pisses herself. I feel like at this point, they're like, whatever's like kind of freaky, just throw it in. So they confront Anton with kitchen knives, and Lizzie says, we're going to hack your balls off and turn them into trinkets. Oh, brother. So Anton, manages to mutilate Charlotte's left arm in a horrible CGI moment, and then Lizzie knocks him unconscious. So now here is the ending. if you look up like, if you even look up the perfection, what the first thing that will come up is ending. Oh wait, I have to pause for a second. Right before they beat Anton up, we have this moment that feels like it's supposed to be like a mic drop, but like Allison Williams takes off a wig and she's got a
Yeah.
pixie cut, and it's like, who cares?
Well, we
Like,
flash back to when they shaved her head in the mental asylum.
but I'm like,
So she just got out of the mental asylum.
which I get, but it's like, I think they could have shown that with her with a pixie cut. Like, I think, first off, she looks great with a pixie cut. Secondly, it feels like such a, like a, go on, girl, give us nothing. Like, who cares? Like, I don't know. It's such a lame moment.
I don't know, but I mean, don't get me started on what they're saying about mental illness. I mean,
Guys, watch out. If you have ever gotten treatment for mental illness, you are liable to hatch crazy schemes to kill people. It's just true. And the next movie will also, it's just a fact, guys. If you're mentally ill, you're crazy and a danger to society. So what can I say? They got us.
they got us dead to rights.
Yeah, it's like witness. It's like a mirror. So yeah, then we get an unspecified time later. They show us Anton. He's got his mouth and eyes and sewn shut and his limbs amputated, and is forced to listen as Charlotte and Lizzie perform for him in the chapel, playing as one, each compensating for the other's missing hand. I feel as though that moment, take out Anton completely. Get him out of there. I see the idea of like they're coming together to play this music for them only.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been really nice, because even Charlotte at the beginning, when she's talking to Lizzie before all this, Lizzie's like, do you still play? She goes, yes, but now it's nice because I'm playing for myself. Except in the end, they are still playing for a man.
Him. Yeah.
He's still ruling their lives. They have not won anything.
Well, and also, like, there's so much that's wrong with this. And I'm so upset that this is sort of seen as like a feminist moment, because I do not see it like that at all. I see it as pretty much the opposite, because here we have two people who are broken, who are like, their broken pieces are fitting together so that they can be like one person. But yes, they're performing for this man. Like, why aren't they playing like the most discordant, horrible, like screeching noises, for him?
Yeah.
To him. Like
they want it to be perfect. Like they want
to prove to him that they are perfect, or I don't. But people are like, oh, they're so in love, and there's I'm just like, no, man, like, it's gross.
It's so gross. They shouldn't be together. They should both go to therapy. Like,
forever.
I would never trust someone if, as a part of helping me, they had to get me to chop my own hand off. Like, that is not the start of a loving relationship. It was built on lies.
Completely. And yeah, the mutilation is just so horrible and so abusive. I mean, here's a woman who's already been abused by Anton and his cronies, and now he's being abused. She's being abused by fucking Allison Williams. Like,
and she doesn't get to decide anything on her own terms. Like, they're talking all about, setting you free, and it's like, yeah, but it's like stomping into somebody's life and demanding that they operate on your schedule, because it's actually convenient for her to do this. So, you are manipulating her on so many levels. Does this help little Zhang Li? Like, does this help her? Y'all don't give a shit about her. Like, they're trying to act like, oh, I had to, to save all the other kids there. You don't give a fuck. And that's when I go, who wrote this? Oh, a man. Well, hold on. One woman was involved. And I Nicole, I'm not going to put this all on you. Richard and Eric, you have some crimes to, answer for. But Nicole, come on, Nicole. Yeah, this is one of those where people are like, this is feminism, right? And it's like, no, it's actually not in any way.
And I want to say to Quinn, who really discouraged me from watching this. And then after I watched it, she was like, and what did you think about the perfection? And I was like, it wasn't for me, but I think it's more than it wasn't for me. Like, I think it's truly offensive.
Yeah. 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 Not a lot of thought went into this, which is clear. And I didn't even make the Miramax connection either. But like Alan just mentioned, like, this just feels really not sincere coming from them, Like, come on, guys. It kind of feels like he said, it feels like they went, yeah, guys, we're with the Me Too thing too. We swear.
Right. This is our answer, our
Yeah.
Me Too answer.
And this is definitely what I think a lot of men think would be like, you get all these rape revenge things, which, like, no, I'm sure there are some people out there who find some sort of empowerment through them, perhaps, but I think they still feel like men's fantasies. And is this not the point that, we're trying to get away from that and let women write their own narratives?
Most people who go through this are traumatized for years, and they have to get like a lot of interventions to just live their lives. And so to just make it this little minor plot point is disgusting to me.
And the way that they show her like going to the mental institution with the little zap, like that is also such a horrible depiction of like mental health resources. Like,
right.
Yes, I'm not saying that they're anywhere close to where they should be, but as somebody who's been like, I very much am trying to get as much mental health help as I can from the resources given to me. That's not what it looks like,
Right.
And it feels like they even her having a pixie cut in a way feels like they're saying like, you girls with short hair, like you're all damaged, right? Like you all have daddy issues, right? Like that's what it feels like. Well, what phobia is that? The fear of amputations is known as apotemnophobia. It is a specific phobia characterized by an intense and irrational fear of losing a limb or body part. When I was a kid, I did sometimes practice doing things with my left hand because I was drawing was so much of part of my identity that I was like, well, should this ever happen, should I ever lose my other hand, I need to know how to do stuff with my left hand. So I could do some things with my left hand.
Oh, wow. I never knew that.
It's interesting. You'll really feel like you're doing stuff with a whole new mindset when you're like, wait, why is brushing my hair so hard right now?
Or brushing your teeth with the non-dominant hand. Yeah, it feels really weird.
Yeah. When Anton is showing the chapel to new student Zhang Li, he asks her to sing a musical note, specifically an A sharp. The note Zhang Li then sings is indeed a perfect A sharp, which would indicate Zhang Li has perfect pitch, a rare talent only 1 in 10,000 people possess, in which they are able to sing or identify any note by ear. Lead Allison Williams had earlier collaborated with director Richard Shepard on 8 episodes of the popular TV series Girls. Not surprising he was involved in that shitty TV show.
I thought you'd like that.
I do, thank you. Boo, Lena Dunham! I have a special hatred for her after being told I look like her, which this is not anything about, women being ugly, but it was just, I find her a repugnant person. So when I was told that, I was like, gee, thanks. So now I extra don't like her. Well, what does Letterboxd have to say about it? Shrek Fan Fiction gave it a half star. This shit sucked major ass. Alicia gave it a half star. awkward movie to watch with an Eighth Note tattoo that I got with my mom. Noelle gave it a half star. What the flip, man? Chupacabra01 gave it 5 stars. This movie got a 10 hours ovation from me. Holy shit. All right.
Okay.
Destiny Louise gave it 5 stars. Honestly, one of the best and most shocking movies I've seen in a while. I don't care what anyone says. I'm sick of all those boring dialogue independent films lately. I hate listening to people talk. I can't take it. Yeah, just give me this shit. This is like an exhausting movie.
Yeah, it is.
Einswift gave it 5 stars. What the fuck? Positively. Okay. Well, how would we rate it? Cleavers?
Yeah. I'm going to give it 2.
I think I'll give it 2.5. I do feel like if you are a person who knows nothing about this particular trauma, like maybe you're one of the men who wrote this movie, I feel like this would be an enjoyable film, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I do feel like as movies go, I do, like, again, the whole part before we get into all this insidious, shitty stuff, I do think is very captivating, and I love that bus scene. I think it's pretty bold to have a character openly just be like, I'm about to shit my pants. Like, and I don't even mean that in like a schlocky way. Like, genuinely, I don't feel like women get to say shit like that in movies. So that's nice, I guess. But yeah, I do feel like it is pretty offensive. What have we learned? Maybe put the pen down. You might think you're writing fire, but maybe get more than one woman to check it. Nicole, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to check these things anymore. Don't let it be Nicole either. Or just like you don't have to have any input, you know, if you don't have any experience.
I think maybe don't take drugs from somebody that you just met the day before.
Yeah, that's true. Don't, just don't like randomly take somebody with you. See if they're wearing a wig or not. How did that wig stay on during the lovemaking?
Exactly.
That's my question. Yeah.
Or the fight scene at the end when he's like dragging her down the stairs. Like it didn't slip once.
Which is crazy because when she takes it off, it's like the least sewn on wig ever. Which, again, why not just give her a fucking pixie cut? They really thought they were like, oh my God, it's so shocking. She was wearing a wig. Is
it lesbian coded then? Or like, what? I don't even get that. I thought it was she was just in the mental institution. Oh no.
I think you're right that
like is she's right on the edge, you know?
Yeah. Which like we could already gather. Like also, how did she just get out? She was wearing the wig at home. Yeah. Every day she's been wearing that wig, just waiting for Lizzie to come back. Wait. She was wearing the fucking wig while chopping up tomatoes. That was so performative. Like, I'm sorry, maybe this isn't true, but it doesn't seem like Allison Williams like frequently prepares her own meals, which like that's fair. Like I eat a lot of takeout too, but like what was this bitch doing? Just like chopping up tomatoes with the blinds up, just being like every day she's been like, she's not here yet. It's taking her a while. She's like, maybe she did die. Shit.
I know, right?
Well, would we watch it again?
No.
Yeah, I think twice was enough. But do you have a favorite scene and or kill?
I think the dissociation was portrayed very well. Mm-hmm. I liked that. I thought that was a good touch. Yeah, I think the bus scene is the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did like the intercutting of the cello concert and them dancing and then making love. I thought that was pretty good too. It was very Soderberghian. Yeah. So, that was cool, but By and large, I did not enjoy this film.
Yeah. Who wins the You Fool Award?
Well, I guess
Theus.
Anton. Theus, why didn't you change your name, dude?
Theus, why did you drink that drink? All these people got to stop. Just like pour your own drink. That's the main thing.
Pour your own
learned.
drink.
Pour your own drink.
Take your own pills. Go to the pharmacy yourself and get your own damn ibuprofen.
Maybe pull on her hair a little bit. Just be like, just checking. I didn't want you to be one of those crazy bitches with a pixie cut. You know, I cannot. Those bitches are all girl interrupted. I can't do it.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. What a film. What a ride. All right. So our second film in our Obsession Over Art Films series is called Stop Motion. Here's the short plot summary from IMDb. A stop-motion animator struggles to control her demons after the loss of her overbearing mother. This was directed by Robert Morgan, written by Morgan and Robin King, starring Aisling Franciosi, cinematography by Leo Hinston, edited by Aurora Vegele, and music by Lola de la Mata. Release dates the 24th of September 2023 at Austin Fantastic Fest and the 23rd of February 2024 with a running time of 93 minutes. How did you feel about this runtime, Mac?
This should have been a short film. This should not have been but I have a lot of thoughts about this movie.
Okay, let's get into it. A blue glistening egg floats in space as quiet, discordant music plays. We see Ella at a club. Lights flash across her face, revealing a myriad of expressions. We get the title card.
Some parts of this movie do feel like Baby's first movie. Like,
I know.
Like, what is even this scene at the beginning? Like, I literally was like, oh. Like, I kind of sighed out loud. And I was excited for this movie. I was so excited. And just when I see red and green lights flash the face, it's like, yeah, faces look different with different lighting. I don't know what to tell you, bud. Like, there's so many times where I was like, I get it. Wrap it up.
We see Ella intensely working to position a stop-motion character's head, the Cyclops. An old woman is revealed to be standing behind her and directing her in how to position the model. Both women are dressed the same and have their hair styled the same. In the stop-motion film, the Cyclops comes across herself lying on the ground. Ella cuts her mother's meat, and her mother directs her in that, too. And her mother calls her Poppet.
Which is very, very interesting, is one letter off from another word we know.
Ella shyly suggests that she could come up with some ideas. Her mother stares at her. Ella is awakened by a branch thudding against the window, but when she goes downstairs, she sees her mother in the studio. Mother asks Ella about her idea, but Ella freezes. Ella goes to meet her boyfriend, his sister, and some friends in a bar. She emerges from her cave, says the boyfriend. Tom's sister is also a stop-motion artist.
Pause. What are the fucking odds? How many stop-motion artists have you met in your goddamn life? And yet, we've got two beautiful young women who are both in this scene. And secondly, what ad company make stop motion videos? Stop motion, the historically difficult to make, very expensive to make. Oh, advertising, the most like make money as fast as we can. I'm sorry. I was like, what in the like in this universe, Wallace and Gromit is like the most highest grossing film of all time. Like, there's no other explanation.
I mean, I was trying to make this make sense. I'm like, maybe Ella and Polly were friends in art school.
I wondered about that.
And that's how they all know each other. But Ella does not seem that close with Polly at all.
And by the way, Polly, now that woman I think was a good actress.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though, sorry, Miss Franciosi, stop doing movies. I know that's really harsh, but oh my God, this movie is made 10 times more difficult with her in this role. Get Poppy in here. Get Poppy in here because this woman cannot do it.
Polly?
Yeah, Polly. Yeah. Get the Poppet out. Get the Polly in.
Later, while Tom snores, Ella pinches his nose until he chokes and wakes up.
This movie thinks it's so clever by being
Mm-hmm.
like, guys, isn't that kind of weird that she would do that? I wonder how that's going to come up later.
She says she needs to go because she needs to go back before her mother wakes up. In the car, Tom and Ella discuss Ella's mom's last film and how Ella needs to be her mother's hands, as her mother's arthritis prevents her from working. Tom wonders if Ella doesn't want to make her own films and find her own voice. Ella says she doesn't have her own voice. Ella climbs into bed at dawn and her mother immediately calls her to come to work. Wake up, Poppet! Ella this time does not cut her mother's meat for her, and her mother eats the meat as it is. In the studio, Ella's mother is pretty mean and then has a stroke that lands her in a coma.
I do like this scene. I think this with like the whole, like, not to get too heavy here, but it did remind me of, I guess, sometimes with my dad when he was alive, because like the tension that I think the tension was built so well in that scene. The old woman could act, and her saying like, don't move a muscle, like just look there, like the intensity and just the like, what am I allowed to do? What can I do right now? I felt like that was done really well, and it's very sad. Like, and then when you see, her mom in the hospital, I feel like that it's such a, this woman is working so closely with her mom, and yet there is such a scary distance between them. Like, even when they're in the same room, and then even when her mom is in such a vulnerable position, like, we don't really see a lot of like, I like the way that they portrayed like Ella, I feel like kind of feeling as though like, okay, I can kind of breathe now, that it's a really sad thing that's happening, but she's free. And I thought that part was done very well.
Yeah, me too. Sound is muffled in the hospital as the doctor explains what has happened to her mom and asks questions. Ella says that her mother doesn't look real. Sound is still muffled when she is with her boyfriend. Ella hallucinates her mother lying on the floor and then a figure of meat in the mom's shape lying on the floor.
Love that.
That was cool. Tom is happy to have Ella move in with him, but she says she has to finish the film.
And I like this too. Tom right here, he's a good boyfriend. He is up until a point, but up until that point, in which to me that point doesn't actually quite make sense, but to that point, I feel like this is a pretty realistic depiction of person grieving with partner who's like doing their best, but the person grieving is like, can't have normal emotions right now because nothing's normal. Now, because I was trying to explain this film to Alan, and then when I got to him finding her an apartment, I was like, this is never explained. Like this, how do British things work?
Okay. No, it's not a British thing. It's that he works in real estate, and the apartment's complex is going to be demolished, but not yet. So now why she has electricity, and water and stuff, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's why she's able to be in the apartment and she's the only one who lives there.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. I watched this one 2 times.
Okay.
Tom finds her an apartment where she can stay and work. Tom wants to spend time with her, but she wants to work. Ella runs into a little girl at the apartment complex and then sets up the backdrop and models for her mother's film. When she moves away from the laptop, the animated figure of Mrs. Cyclops pops up on the screen and goes out of frame when Ella turns her back to the laptop. Ella seems stressed and unsure of herself. The sound of the little girl singing echoes in the hallway. The little girl stops her and asks what Ella is working on. Ella explains how stop-motion animation works and how the armature fits inside Mrs. Cyclops' cloth body. Ella says she does it because she likes it, she's good at it, and she likes bringing something to life. She shows the little girl the film and tells the story. The Cyclops traded one of her eyes to the gods so she could see her destiny, but then she saw her own death. The little girl says that the story is a bit boring and that she should make a new, better story.
Now, I just have a few thoughts. Firstly, I think the idea that they had for this movie, but I will tell you straight up, during this scene, I sat and I paused and I went, this is her inner child that she is talking to, and she's about to work through her trauma being that something really bad happened to her as a kid. Like, it's not done subtly at all, because why would there be a little girl here? Why does she look exactly like Ella? Like, I do like the scene of her, like, we get a direct contrast to how her mother was with her, and then now that there's a little kid with her, she at first goes right back into a similar thing, but then is calm and explains it to her. That's really sweet. That's a very, like, healing inner child thing. But it just is, I don't think subtlety is like a word.
Oh, no.
Like, and it would have been really nice if this had just been a little bit more like, but she might as well be like Casper the Friendly Ghost right now or something. Like, there's no reality that I would ever believe that this little girl is an actual child,
Right. Although, I mean, I've heard people discuss this film on podcasts and stuff, and some people didn't realize that the girl wasn't real. I mean, I think it's like so obvious that she's a figment of her imagination. I did like it that it was a little girl that's taking the place of her mother in a way.
Yeah. I just got to say, if this was a surprise to you, like, I do not mean to be rude, but like, read a book. I don't know. Like, think about the act. Like, if you just think for 1 second, what is the story telling me? You'll be like, oh, that is a little, and that's her. And then okay. And then as soon as she says what the story she should tell, I was like, my thought was, wrap it up. I don't need to watch the rest of the movie because I actually know exactly how it's going to happen.
The little girl tells the story of a girl lost in the woods who is being pursued by someone. Ella is playing with some mortician's wax. The little girl says she should definitely make the little girl out of the wax. As Ella shuffles her out the door, the girl finishes her juice box, crushes it, and drops it on the floor. Ella imagines a forest. The scene shifts and Tom's voice is muffled. Ella comes out of her fugue state and sees that she has destroyed the old set and the figures of the Cyclops. On the desk, there is a new set with a wax doll at its center. When Ella looks at her laptop, she sees a bit of film of the doll crawling in the woods and someone pursuing the girl. Tom wants her to come back to his house. She doesn't respond, so he says he'll cook a steak, which he dangles in front of her face. Back at the hospital, Ella's mom is still in a coma. Ella throws all the accoutrements of her mother's film out in the trash. When she comes back inside, Polly is there and strangely caresses Ella's face. Didn't you think that was strange?
Yeah.
It's like oddly intimate. I was like, what?
And so that would make so much sense if, like, she met boyfriend through Polly, but we never get any sort of thing like that. From the get,
yeah, I just made that up.
Yeah, and I like that. Like, I feel like from the get, it just seems like Ella is always just exuding, I hate this bitch. I hate this bitch.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I mean, people are awkward. Like, when a parent is dying, it's like, how do you know how to comfort your friend, basically your sister-in-law, So, okay. But I just thought it was very odd and very strange. I wish she would have done something again, So it's just like, okay, this is just this character's like quirk. Polly is very curious about Ella's project. Polly asks what drugs Ella is on, that she gets her best ideas when she is tripping her tits off. As Polly leaves, the little girl arrives and says the wax girl doesn't look real. She retrieves some meat from the trash and says that Ella should make a new girl out of the meat. The little girl says that if Ella uses the meat, she will tell her the next part of the story.
And I do like, it's so tough because when what you have written, I enjoy. Like that is reminding me of the ideas that I enjoyed, but the execution is not there. Though the execution in terms of the actual stop motion, phenomenal. I loved every second of it. Again, this world makes no sense. I guess it makes sense why there is an ad agency that does this shit, because stop motion actually doesn't take that much time in this world. You actually can do like, I'm pretty sure like what she has done would take like months of work and more than one human, but whatever.
That's a really, really good point, Mac. Yep. The little girl says that if Ella uses the meat, she will tell her the next part of the story. She says that the girl runs through the forest and hides in a house. The quote, man who no one wants to meet, comes on 3 nights. The little girl begins directing Ella in how to position the camera. We see the stop-motion movie of the girl running through the forest and hiding in the house. Ella and the little girl name the bad man the Ash Man. Ella is awakened by someone loudly banging on her door. When she looks through the peephole, no one is there, and I'm going to call the little girl TLG now.
Nice.
TLG says that she has found something that will work for the Ash Man. It is a dead fox in the forest. Ella is reluctant to use the dead fox, but TLG says that unless she does, she won't tell her the rest of the story. Ella insists that the film is hers. Is it? Asks TLG. What happens next? The girl walks off in a huff. Ella is dictating her thoughts into a recorder, but she can't think of anything past what TLG has told her.
This is the stupidest scene. Like, we just have her saying, oh, what's next part? And then she goes, the man comes on the first night. Oh, what do I do now? Like, it's so stupid. Like, this is why, so many of these shots are so beautiful. Like, so short film was the way to go, but they did not have enough. Like, and this actress cannot carry this role. The little girl is a way better actress.
Oh, the little girl is amazing.
She's
really,
the star.
really good. At the hospital, she apologizes to her mom that she couldn't finish her mother's film, but that she has started her own, but that the film really isn't hers. And without someone telling her what to do, she has no ideas. At a party, Ella asks Polly for some pharmaceutical inspiration with the aim to trip her own tits off. Polly asks when Ella would like to come to her work for an interview, and Ella snaps, I'd kill myself if I had to work at a place like that.
Now I like her.
Now I hate her.
No,
that is so rude.
I know, it's so rude.
Fucking rude.
She's just being nice.
She's so snotty and like elitist and like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, you just asked her for free drugs and now you're being an asshole.
Oh my God. A marionette speaks. Okay, so now we basically have the trippy party scene. And it's so baby's first film.
Yes.
It totally is.
We've got a girl with her eyes closed, but they painted eyes on top of her eyelids. And it's like, isn't that weird?
Whoa.
No, paint that on everyone in the room. Like, don't have one single human. I was getting pissed off at this movie.
And there's like a marionette.
Oh, so creepy.
I know, that speaks in TLG's voice. And then Ella has sex with Tom under the gaze of a mannequin. That's so weird, Mac.
So, oh my God, wouldn't that be like real? Like mannequins, they're kind of like weird, you know?
They're like people, but they're not like, oh my God. Her mother called her puppet.
She's like a puppet. Her strings are cut. She doesn't know what to do. Fuck off. We wanted to like you. We wanted to like you so bad.
It's bad. I mean, that's bad enough, Mac, but her mother literally says that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, because we're really stupid. So I actually was like, "What's happening?" And when she said that, I was like, "Pop it!" I guess for somebody watching this, they were like, "Holy shit, the girl's her." Oh my god. I just can't. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude. I just feel like if you were actually paying attention, this movie's insufferable to witness because you're just like, I get it. But if they cut out everything, if they cast somebody new for the actress, for Ella, and then they just could cut so much of it out and it would be a lovely short film. It would be amazing. People would be like throwing flowers at it. It'd be so good. I think the idea, and I love the idea of you have to work through it. You don't know what it is that you're working through until you are making the work to work through it. And it is painful. I like that. That's such a great idea. And like, that's it.
Yeah. While she's making love with Tom, she plays with Tom's skin as if she is molding it out of clay. Afterward, she rejoins the party, and there is a kind of trippy montage until someone breaks a bottle over another bloke's head. Ella reaches out and plays with the bloody flap on the injured man's forehead. The little girl is at the party, in makeup, and lures Ella into the woods to the dead fox. TLG speaks into the recorder and Ella's voice comes out. Talking to yourself is the first sign of madness. Look who's talking.
Oh, brother.
TLG says the ash man must be made out of something dead. Ella says she sees that now. Ella uses the fur and meat from the fox to make the ash man. Ella and TLG begin filming the ash man coming the first night. The ash man sees the girl on the first night. Someone is buzzing into the apartment, and Ella and TLG ignore the buzzing until on the third buzz, the buzz is extended and out of tune.
Reminds me of like, remember that one part in the Kesha song that always creeped me out because like her voice would get all low. They heard that and they were like, that's good. Put that in there.
So I guess she's blowing off her boyfriend. Is that?
Oh, I thought it was. Yeah, I mean, and what's so sad, again, I get frustrated because I see the potential, is the idea of trauma is making it hard for her to have a healthy, loving relationship. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, put that in there. If that's what we were witnessing. Like, I wish that, because I have been in a place before, actually very frequently, where I feel, struggling with depression and whatnot can make it so hard to be in a loving relationship because you can just feel like I don't have anything to give right now, but I love this person. And that's a really like difficult place to be in. And I feel like I would love to see a movie that depicted such an event. And I feel as though something like that could have played out here, but it's just done in a way where you are kind of like, bro, just like break up with her.
Yeah, totally. Ella looks outside her window, and on the landing, she looks outside of her window and on her landing and sees something/someone coming up the stairs. She rushes back to her apartment, but she can hear the someone breathing heavily outside. Then she hears someone banging on the door 3 times. Ella looks through the peephole, and a bloodshot eye is peeping back at her. Tom finds her passed out on the floor. Ella reveals that she never took the LSD.
Bro, what the fuck? What would I just watch then? What just happened then? Depressed people be crazy.
I guess so. She tells Tom that the man from her film looked through the door at her. Tom says, no, you animated that, see?
Send her to the institution, man. Like,
yeah, that's not, I mean, there's like depressed and then there's, hallucinations and like seeing and hearing things that aren't there. That shit needs to be medicated, bro.
And another thing is the whole Ashman himself. I wish that, like, okay, I once watched somebody play this indie horror game where part of the whole point was just trying to depict how horrifying it is to be a kid in like an abusive home. And they depicted that by having like the red man. And the idea was when the dad was like red faced and drunk and stuff, it's like, that's great. That's like a child's idea, you know, of like what to be
Mm-hmm.
scared of. But it's like, so was she in a fucking like random abandoned house in the woods? Like when she was a kid? Like it would be so much more interesting if we had any indication of who this man was. But again, this just makes me feel like whoever wrote this doesn't even know what they're talking about, because what what is this?
Well, I guess when we get to the part where the ash man eats her face off, um, maybe it'll be a little more clear, but I don't know about that. She says she wants to go and goes back to Tom's. When Ella is in the shower, she hallucinates that her thigh is made of wax.
I do like this part.
Ella is on edge at Tom's. She hallucinates that the girl figure climbs up on top of the bed and pulls the skin of her thigh apart. TLG turns up in the restaurant where Tom and Ella are. TLG tells her through a door that on the first night he sees her, on the second night he touches her. Ella says she has changed her mind about the story, but she can't stop thinking about it. She tells Tom she wants to go back. He's not keen on that idea. She says she doesn't know how to do anything else. He suggests she come help him at his office, but she scoffs at that idea. Rude.
Such a bitch, man.
She
Like
really is awful.
you're living rent free in this place. You've got no friends. You've only got, you know, your boyfriend. And miraculously, in the smallest industry, the biggest industry that has ever existed, stop motion animation, he's got you an in. Like, what could be better than, like, people beg for this kind of opportunity, you know? She's
Mm-hmm.
too good for it. And she thinks she's too good for him, because we get some indication that he like makes music on the side. As many people who are interested in art do, the amount of people who can make money off of their art or want to is such a small fraction. How lovely it is that even with a real estate job, he's still pursuing his passions. No,
Yeah.
she doesn't like that either.
She's really an awful person. She meets Polly at Polly's work. Ella thought she would be animating, but instead she is making eyes. She also discovers that Polly has stolen her idea of the girl in the forest. Ella starts destroying the set in a rage and heads back to the hospital. Now, did that really happen?
I
Like, did
can't
Polly really steal her idea?
I can't tell, because firstly, what commercial is that going to be good for? Like, of a
Yeah,
scared, nasty looking, look, nasty, I say that with affection, but nasty looking girl in the woods. Like, we're only supposed to hate Polly. Like, that's the only purpose of that. And, you know, none of this is real. Like, it feels
I don't
so fake.
I don't think I don't think Polly stole her idea. I think Polly said, to be nice, what you're working on could kind of work for what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then when what's her name? Ella sees her quote unquote work on this board, she says, "What's that?" And Polly says, "Well, that's a mood board." And she's like, "No, that's my movie." And she's like, "Well, we're just using it for reference."
Yeah.
I think that's all true. I don't think she stole her idea. And
Yeah.
I think she really does destroy the set,
Yeah.
but that's because she's crazy.
Because interestingly, at the very beginning, when Polly is flipping through, like she's like, "Oh, here's some stuff I've done recently." One thing looks a lot like the girl in the woods. Like, it's a little girl. It's kind of creepy, and I remember thinking, like, I feel like you stole it, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll
Mm,
have to go back and check what it was, but I wonder if that was a little detail.
that's cool. Ella heads back to the hospital where she takes pictures of her mother's hands in slightly different positions. She hears her mother say, "It's a wonderful medium, isn't it, bringing dead things to life?" And the mom says that Ella cannot control her own imagination. She's a puppet, caught in her own strings, always controlled by someone. And when puppets are done with their play, they're put back in the box. All that was a hallucination, though. Mom is still in a coma. I think, right? She didn't
I
really
think
say
so.
that.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah. I think we're supposed to then wonder how much of this is all Ella's imagination. I feel like it's a really good cop out to be like, oh, it doesn't make sense because, it was all in her imagination. Well, you made the movie.
TLG is telling the story about the Ash Man on the second night, but Ella says she wants to change the story. TLG says she cannot change the story, and Ella says she can. It's her film. Ella wants it to be that on the second night, the girl escapes. As she is animating, the Ash Man bangs on the door of the hut where the girl is. In Ella's world, there is seemingly an earthquake, and a person-sized Ash Man is hiding under the leaves of the animation set.
This part is so cool looking.
Ella goes to run, but her legs are made of wax, and she falls. She is now entirely made of wax and is tiny. She escapes through a tiny hole in the wall and tries to escape into a satin-lined box, but she can't. Back in her own body, the Ash Man barfs up the blue egg and feeds it to Ella. Ella is writhing around on the floor, and we see the blue egg floating in space. TLG looks down at Ella and says, "I told you."
Is the egg trauma?
Okay, I thought the egg was her sanity. First, I thought the egg was creativity.
Okay.
Because he feeds it to her.
Yeah, so she's getting this, yeah.
And it's unattainable. It's like out there. Like she doesn't have any ideas of her own, but she knows that there are brilliant ideas. So that's why I thought it was creativity. But then I thought, because at the end, spoiler WoHos, the egg cracks, then I thought that was like the full cracking of her sanity. And now she's in full Delulu mode.
Which, to be hallucinating the way she is before, and it's like now she's in full Delulu mode, is like, I don't think these people know what mental illness is.
No, for sure not. I mean, there is such a thing as a psychotic break. And I think that's what they're trying to depict. But man, Ella wakes up in the hospital. She was found wandering near her building. And does she know where she got that nasty cut on her leg? Tom suggests that maybe they work together. This is so sweet.
I know. He's like so nice.
He's really trying to make it work with this fucking monster. Oh my God. She could make music videos for his group. Ella is disparaging about Tom's music. She's like, "You don't make music, Tom. You just put on your suit and go to work." Like, fuck you, bitch.
You're welcome for the apartment you're allowed to be in because of my work. And then I do love when he's like, "And who wants to watch your shitty film anyway?" I was like, "Yeah, Tom, get her ass."
I know, Tom. You have a really good point that, she's animating with meat and fox fur, and she has got a fucking dead fox in the fucking apartment.
Just let her go.
Tom threatens to delete Ella's movie. She convinces him to let her do it so long as he is there with her. Then Ella's mom dies. TLG asks, "Are we done here?" TLG and Ella break into the apartment. TLG says the fox meat is all dried out now and they need something more bleedy. Ella strangles TLG, but TLG doesn't die. Did you get that out of your system?
Grown.
Ella cries and says she is scared. She wants to know what the Ash Man does on the third night. TLG says that a good artist always puts something of themselves into their work. All the figures come out of their box and sit on the couch. That was pretty cool, though. Yeah. All the little figures from all the animation sets. That was pretty neat. TLG unwraps Ella's bandage.
Oh, I skipped it. Like, this part made me go, oh, brother. I just really felt like they looked, oh, we're a horror movie? Okay, just add some, like, the same thing with the finger in the guy's head. It was like, what is the purpose of this?
It's just nasty.
Yeah. And skipping the scene, I didn't even feel bad about it because I was like, yep, okay, it's going to be gross. Okay, yep, all right. Like, you don't get anything from it.
It's really horrible. I watched it twice. So Ella undoes her stitches and she splits the wound open. Tom and Polly come by and see what she is doing. Ella has torn a bit of flesh from her leg and nearly faints, but grabs her camera at the last minute. She kicks Polly in the face and throws Tom down the stairs. She fights with Polly, who digs her fingers into Ella's leg. That was good. Ella pushes the leg of the tripod through Polly's neck, killing her.
How?
With some real Peeping Tom vibes. She goes to Tom and suffocates him by pinching his nose and covering his mouth.
That made me again. I literally said out loud, that takes off another star because that pissed me off.
Well, this is like one of my pet peeves about movies in general. Like, it is so easy to suffocate people in film. Whereas I think it takes like 7 minutes or something like that. Like, No Country for Old Men, I think, is kind of realistic. But otherwise, Ella drags the bodies into the apartment and TLG says this is even better. Ella begins cutting Polly's thigh. The fox meat and fur is indeed full of maggots, and a bloody bit of plastic lies in the corner of the room with a severed hand poking out of it. Ella has made figures of out of Tom and Polly's bodies. The Ashman figure trudges toward the girl, but then the Ashman puppet or figure is trudging toward the puppet of the girl, not the TLG. But then starts toward Ella, who hides in a wardrobe. The Ashman enters the wardrobe too. We see the blue egg floating and vibrating. Ella digs into her face, which is now fully made of wax, and feeds it to the Ashman. He eats the offering and then feeds directly from her face. The blue egg bursts open. In the woods, Ella walks to the cabin, very sensor vibes, and enters it. TLG is watching Ella's film on the laptop. In the film, the wax/meat figures have played out the scene in the wardrobe, and the laptop is moved out of frame to reveal Ella, lying on the floor, apparently dead from the leg wound and loss of blood. TLG says she loves the film. Ella climbs into the satin-lined box and closes herself inside.
So is the point supposed to be if something really bad happened to you, you just like kill yourself? Like, I really feel like that's because I love the idea of the little girl, and I even love her saying, I love the film. Like, the idea of it being like, you are doing justice to this little girl, who experienced this, and she is getting satisfaction out of you working through it. But there's no payoff. Like, you're a bad person. You killed your boyfriend and your, sister-in-law and whatever. Like, so what's the point of it all, And even if it was just work through it, why did she have to kill those two? Like, this doesn't make her sympathetic in any way. And
No.
I feel as though working through your trauma through art, amazing. That's a great message to send.
But also, I think it's kind of saying that she doesn't have any ideas of her own. Besides working through her trauma, her childhood trauma. But she's not a creative person.
Yeah.
She has to, the only thing that inspires her is the trauma that she experienced as a child.
And I feel as though that could have been depicted well, because I often have felt similarly I feel as though when you look around and you're wondering, like, what is wrong? The people who are, using something to, numb the pain and stuff, kind of for a little bit, you trick yourself, or you can trick yourself into, or hide that part of yourself so much that you don't even know where to look, you know? And so it could feel as though I don't have anything. I need to work through this. And because I could see her feeling like, well, I can't really, once her mom is dead and once, like, you know, the idea of you need to actually feel safe to begin working through things and feeling like a person again. All that is such great stuff. And I think could have been, like, it feels like whoever made this doesn't know the full, you know, doesn't have the full picture of what, you know, working through stuff looks like.
Mm. Yeah,
Like
it's
not
know.
empowering in any way. Like,
no,
I think
it's not. And I do like some of the ideas. I was thinking about, like, when she says, you know, every good artist puts some of themselves into their work. And I thought about what we sacrifice for art. You know, like we might sacrifice sleep, or we might sacrifice our body, like feeling, you know, comfort. There's a lot that could be that I think it's trying to say about that. Like, art is very demanding, or it can be very demanding, especially if you want to be really, really good at it. But then she's dead. I mean, to find peace, the only way to find peace is to die. I mean, I don't get
message.
I don't get that. I don't believe that. And I don't think that's necessary. It's very convenient since she's just committed double homicide.
Yeah. But, and, you know, all that could have been done with, you know, her mom is apparently this legend in, like, the stop motion industry. Okay, so she feels under the shadow of something great, something that she's always felt. And now that her mom is dead, you know, she can be her own person. No, none of that's explored. You know, we get like a few scenes of it, but the stuff that is very interesting about this movie, they refuse, they don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. But anything that is stupid, they're like, more of this, please. We need more shots of lights flickering on this actress's face and her making the exact same face in every scene. We need this. We need more of it, actually. And I just don't get it. It makes me sad because I do feel as though stop motion, very cool medium. The actual stop motion in this, very amazing to watch. Meat as, you know, flesh and blah, blah, blah. I loved the way the little baby noises the little girl made, like the little stop motion girl.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was great. Like, I loved them building the red room and Ella walking into it. I thought that scene all looked beautiful. But I think you could make like a 10-minute cut of this movie and you'd get everything you need out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I hadn't thought about it as a short film, but yeah, probably would have been better. So here's some trivia. While it might sound extreme, using real meat for stop motion is an actual technique used by stop motion legend Jan Svankmajer.
Wow.
Briefly, what does Letterboxd have to say about it? Lindsay gave it 5 stars. I want to process my trauma through meat art. Buffy Summers gave it 5 stars. I don't know about stop motion, but it stopped me right in my tracks. Incredible stuff. Allison Fell gave it 5 stars. I watched this during my study halls and fully screamed multiple times. Does my class hate me? Yes. Do they think I'm psycho? Yes to that as well. But I really loved this movie and enjoyed myself. We'll be recommending this to anyone and everyone.
Big sorry to all of Allison's friends.
Giovanna Bolton gave it a 0.5 star. Should be called Stop Movie.
Yes, Giovanna.
That review made me laugh every time I thought about it. And WoHos, Mac said that he fell asleep watching this. And I really wanted to tell you about this review.
Stop. The way it's typed too, like you just feel a lot of emotion from it. It's like a one-line poem.
Mega Stalin gave it a half star. Nobody actually likes this movie. They just pretend. And Soph Gids gave it a half star. Stupid. A horror movie about stop motion. Spoiler. It's ass.
It's the ass.
All right. How would we rate this film? In lumps of mortician's clay?
Yeah. One.
It's hard.
I couldn't take this movie. I was so disappointed.
Worse than The Perfection?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, you could give The Perfection this, which is walking into it, there is no time where you can say, I know exactly how this is going to go.
That's true. That is true.
And
I'll give you that.
This movie, about 10 minutes in, I was like, it's going to go like this. And then when it went like that, I was like, I don't need to watch it. Like, I don't need to. I could have watched this on 3 times speed. And again, stop motion parts, beautiful, amazing.
That's what I was going to say. That Perfection does not have stop motion animation.
Okay. If we're only talking the stop motion bits and even the whole concept around the stop motion bits, 4.
Okay.
But if I have to include the rest of it in, I was knocking off stars. Like, I was like, nope, you just lost one. You lost another one, you know? This
Have you ever given anything a 1 star?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Man, I know Aisling is never going to watch this or listen to this. I hope not. But bad acting is a sin to me, a little bit, because there are so many good actors out there that, I mean, this little girl, prime example, like a child, you know, had so much more skill. And that's no diss to children. Like, there's so many good child actors, but I feel like that is a statement there. It's like, you've had a lot of years to hone your craft. This child is running off of pure, like, instinct and is running laps around you.
Wow.
I think getting upshown by a child in a scene is...
Yeah. I didn't have as hard a time with her as you did, but...
If you watch it again, you might now, and I apologize.
Well, I think twice is enough for me for both of these films. What have we learned?
Go to therapy.
Oh my God, go to therapy. Like,
don't make it everybody's problem.
Before your parent is dead, go to therapy.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Yes. Yes. I just learned about this concept, the bid for connection. So Tom threw out 1 million bids to this woman.
Gosh. I know.
And
he could not read. The thing about Tom, though, he could not read a room.
That's true. I don't think they were matched. They were a good match.
No. I mean, she would sort of like wistfully smile, but I'm like, does she even like this man? Like,
clearly not.
Yeah.
The idea of him, like, that really is so painful. The scene of him being like, you could do like our music videos, and her laughing in his face.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And he still is like, let's destroy this film together.
Yeah.
Like, Tom, have some self-respect.
She is not the one. She's not the one to be wasting your time on.
She's horrible.
If only everyone could be so lucky, you know, to have somebody who's like, your art that I respect. Hey, I got you an in the industry, my own family. No, I'm going to be a bitch to her and ask her for acid that I'm not even going to take.
Which, why didn't she take it?
I feel like that was supposed to be like oh my God. What if it was in her head? What if sometimes people had delusions? That'd be crazy.
Yeah, not cool movie.
I don't think they've ever done drugs, the people who did this movie.
No.
No way. The fact that that woman said tripping my tits
My
off,
tits off.
never heard that in my life.
Maybe it's an English thing,
Maybe it's supposed to
but
be like tripping balls, but like women empowered. All the women were like, yes, thank you. We've been waiting.
Finally. No, but I mean, if Midsommar can do it, I mean, I don't understand. But all right. I'm going to give it 2 stars. I think it's on a par with the perfection in terms of like, you know, the bad and the good evening themselves out. And so I think 2 out of 5 is pretty good. What have we learned? We already said that, go to therapy. Okay. Would we watch it again?
No.
Favorite scene or kill?
On any scene with a stop motion, it like undoubtedly is like, I'll take the stop motion back up to 5. There's nothing bad to say about it. It's so good.
Yeah. I like the scene where the little girl comes into the bedroom when
yes, it's so creepy.
Ella's lying on the bed and then it like crawls up the side of the bed. It's really good.
And I liked it when she was the little thing, but she had no features. I liked that I was like, okay, you're doing something here. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really good. Who wins the You Fool Award? Well,
Tom?
I think Tom, but also Ella.
Yeah.
She should have gotten help.
Polly should have been like, hey, Tom.
Polly. Yeah.
This bitch just like tore up my workplace. Can you break up with her real quick? Kick her out?
Sure. Well, thank you, Mac, for having this conversation with me today about obsession over art horror films.
It was a pleasure.
And thank you, WoHos, for joining us and for all your support. It means the world of horror to us, truly. Next time, we will be looking at class warfare films with The Platform and Ready or Not, both from 2019. Remember, WoHos, we love you, and don't go into the basement.